Greetings, viewers, and welcome to a very special episode of Unrepentant Geeking. I'm your host, Shaun Cronenfeld, and I am joined this week by longtime friend of the show,
Lord Nobunaga Horning.
No. The Dark Lord.
Yes, the Dark Lord of the Sith. It is good to be back at a topic that is pertinent to who I am.
To your very core. Don't doubt it, folks. So yeah, obviously, we are here to talk about Star Wars! Yeah, we are here to talk about, as of this recording, we are recording this the day of the start of Star Wars Celebration. I think it's technically 10, though it's the 7th, official one in America, so, because, 7 is the big number this year for Star Wars. And we're here to talk about the trailer, the news that's come out, all the other little bits and pieces. And obviously, Oda, I think we got to begin with the trailer, with the teaser. They had a big Force Awakens panel with J.J. Abrams, with Kathleen Kennedy, with much of the cast earlier today. And the finale for the panel, if you don't know, was the premiere of the second teaser trailer for Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
And if you haven't seen it by now, I don't think we can help you.
Well, actually, we can. So what I'm going to go ahead is, on the off chance you haven't seen it yet, and on the more likely chance that you haven't seen it enough yet, because there is no such thing as enough, I present to you the second teaser trailer for Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
The Force is strong in my family. My father has it. I have it. My sister has it. You have that power too. We're home.
So, there we go. And, I mean, look, it's a teaser trailer. It was a teaser trailer, and it was a teaser trailer where technically, yes, we saw all three of the original, the big three, but we only saw the face of one of them, which I found somewhat amusing, but still, the music and the cuts and that crashed Star Destroyer, oh my god! Calm, professional, collected.
Yeah, right.
That was the trailer. Oda, what did you think of the second teaser trailer?
I will start my comments off by saying, yes, Han and Chewie, welcome home.
Was I the only one getting a little verklempt? Finding a little dusty when he uttered those words?
Yeah, somebody was chopping onions, perhaps. And
Liquid pride, man.
Now, I actually found it funny that basically that line has been, I guess you'd call it trending. People in, I guess, the creative industry and, even from Chris Metzen and all these other people, Adam Savage, all these other, giant nerds were nerding out just with everyone else. And it's because Star Wars, of course, was part of their childhood just so much as it was a part of ours. I think they're doing this right to a point.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars can't be marketed like Marvel. And we were talking about, just before we started recording, we were kind of talking about it. Marvel is releasing so many trailers, you'd swear they had a giant movie empire coming or something. We'll touch more on the presentation and the panel and kind of what was shown then in a bit, but for this teaser, it looks like JJ's quote unquote mystery box quote method of advertising is sort of well in force. I mean, it's been since November was the last time we got a look, and that was that first like 30-second teaser or whatever it was that threw everyone up in arms about a cross guard on a lightsaber, for God's sake.
Yeah, but it's April, and this movie's coming out at the end of December. We are still a long way. I am assuming at some point we are going to get a substantial trailer.
First up, I guess after the, welcome back on Jay. The trailer is awesome. The imagery that they're running with, and it looks like the tone. I mean, obviously it's a teaser trailer, so we can't tell like the real tone of the movie. But in this teaser, of course, it looks like you have pitch battles, war. Stormtroopers are getting their butt whooped by looks like other stormtroopers, or at least TIE fighters in a giant hangar.
Yeah, I assume that's I assume that's Finn. I'm assuming the scene with the TIE fighter shooting up the TIE fighter hangar is part of whatever's leading Finn to escape and will eventually lead him to the desert planet Jakku. Yeah, it's a teaser. It's exactly what it says, and at least it gave us more than the first teaser.
Yeah, and to tell you the truth, in this YouTube age, I am so looking forward to waking up tomorrow, grabbing my coffee, and sitting down and searching for people on YouTube that have gone frame by frame by frame through the teaser and pulled, like, the fact that there's a new symbol on the giant Empire banner.
Well, right, because it's not the Empire anymore, but we'll get to that. God, there's so much to talk about.
So much, but like all that little stuff, I want to listen to others geek out as much as I want to geek out because it's Star Wars.
The trailer left me excited, and one thing I noticed, if you look on social media, I see a lot of people saying that, well, you know what, this trailer won me over, or this trailer, now for the first time I'm actually excited for the movie, and all that, and that's really key, because there is so much toxic bitterness towards the prequels. And look, I've never made bones about the fact that I think people way overstate how bad the prequels are. I've said it before, I will say it again. You want to see an actual bad movie, a genuinely awful movie, go watch Battleship. Go watch the Total Recall remake. Go watch some of these empty pieces of crap that are literally just pointless CGI and not really, and barely able to tell a story, and characters who you can't even really call characters. Certainly the prequels are flawed films, but at their worst, at least they're bloody well trying. You can't say that George Lucas didn't put in real effort. He may not have succeeded, especially in the second one, in my opinion, and the man should never be allowed to write romance dialogue again, ever. But I will take any of the prequels over a good number of films any day of the week. But I get it. It was expectation and all that stuff. There's a lot of people who feel completely burned by Star Wars at this point. And to be fair, they're the same people who will still go see this movie, because how can you not? One of the interesting things is my parents are going to go see this movie. They've talked to me about it. My mother never watches science fiction or fantasy. She just doesn't. But this isn't science fiction to her. This is Star Wars. And that's different. And that's something special. And I'm glad to see that this second teaser really seems to be giving... Look, we don't know yet. It's just a teaser. We don't know. This movie may suck, though I will say after 2 teasers, I'm already feeling pretty goddamn optimistic. Then again, I like both of Abrams' Star Trek films, although I think Into Darkness has a really problematic third act. Just a terrible third act. But that's as much the issue of the writing and all that stuff. You can't tell me those films weren't well directed, okay? They were very well directed. I'm very optimistic. That's how I walk away from this trailer. How about you?
I was already on board, honestly.
Unsurprising.
Yeah, unsurprised. No, I'm one of the guys that didn't despise I almost called them the reboots, because that kind of almost seemed kind of what they were. The prequels. And, yes, they are deeply, deeply flawed movies. And shout out to Movie Bob and Red Letter Media, and all those guys who have dissected the prequel down to all of the faults in cinematography and all of that. And absolutely, I agree with you on all of those points. I will say that there obviously is a nostalgia there.
Yeah.
There is. I mean, obviously, every single movie has its faults. We wouldn't have the glorious channel known as CinemaSins if it wasn't.
I am not saying the prequels are better than the original trilogy. They aren't. They aren't. But that's my final word on the prequels. Guys, let's just move on. The main point is, don't hold the prequels against this. Okay, George Lucas did the prequels. Most of the people who did the prequels, a lot of the people at least, especially in terms of creative, they aren't involved with this. This is a new project. Set in the same universe, but it's a new project. So how about we let it, as much as we can, rise and fall on its own merits?
I think I have seen, and I think maybe social media has kind of let me see this now, that for all of the poison that is the prequels, I really think because of the sale to Disney, the media, huge hype machine surrounding it, and the appointment of J.J. Abrams to direct, I think there is a faith. There is a faith now, and only the most die-hard haters are still in the camp of this movie is absolutely going to suck. Because nothing good could come out of Star Wars. Again, Star Wars is ruined.
The Clone Wars and Rebels proves that's nonsense.
Great shows. Though I haven't seen more than a few episodes of Rebels, I need to catch up on that. That's all. So yeah, I really think that we're headed in a great direction, and the teaser trailer really only highlights that, because the imagery that you see in the teaser trailer, and of course they crafted this for the hype, and we understand that. So I'm trying not to let it get too deep and grab me too much, but still, you cannot look at that trailer and not feel something. And it's like the last 15 seconds of the first teaser trailer with the Falcon, just tipping in the air, diving, and obviously that is in the exact same scene as the flying through the beach Star Destroyer from the end of this one, and I'm so on board. I am so on board, and I think most people are too.
Yeah, my final thoughts on the trailer itself is I like the sense of scope. I like seeing things like Kylo Ren out apparently in the field doing nasty stuff with the stormtroopers. I like the scene of the stormtroopers lined up in front of what appears to be our new Emperor figure, whoever he or she ends up being. I like just the shots of our new characters. I like the focus on the new, because they're the characters who are clearly going to carry this forward, and even just they already seem like they're good fits for the role just in the scant amount of footage we've seen. I like their designs. I like what seems to be being set up with them. There's some interesting stuff going on, and I'm really excited to see where this story is going.
Yeah, same here. I really wonder how they're going to do the transition between the old and the new, because that's obviously something that JJ wants to do, to give that last send-off for the old cast. And then if they survive the first movie, which maybe we don't know, but if they survive the first movie, to give them just background roles in the subsequent movies to pass the torch.
They should be around, but they're not. People need to understand. Now, apparently Abrams went back and gave them more to do, because apparently in the original draft of the script, or an earlier draft, they were even less present. But I think it's pretty clear from these trailers, they may have more to do, but they are not going to be the stars.
No.
And they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be.
Yeah, they should get a couple of good scenes, a couple of meaningful parts, and maybe a heroic sacrifice and a dogfight or two.
Yeah. But we need new characters and new blood and new direction to keep things going. And that's why I take heart for the fact that we're focusing a lot on the new characters in both of these teasers, because they're the ones who really have to win us over.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're doing a good job.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so moving on from the trailer, let's talk a bit about some of the new details we got. Because today, at the earlier mentioned panel, and also coming out of the floor of Celebration itself, for the first time, we got some real information about some specific aspects of the film. Certainly more than we got in the last one. The last teaser, all we got were some names. And we got almost nothing in the way of context beyond that. I think it's partially that, along with, the second teaser had just more in it in general, and combine that with the information, and we're starting to at least get some sense. Some of the big stuff to come out is, for one thing, and this is very interesting, in the new film, the rebels are now known as the Resistance, and the Empire, or what the forces we are seeing that we all thought were the Empire, are now being referred to as the First Order. The Resistance seems to imply, could it be that the Rebellion won, they took over, but somewhere along the lines they lost their way, and part of the rebellion broke off to become the Resistance, and what remains is the First Order. Any thoughts on that? I realize this is pure speculation, but come on, that's half the fun of doing something like this.
Okay, pure speculation. I have always thought that even despite the failures and the destruction, the loss of the Emperor, and all of that, at the Battle of Yavin and all of that, that the Empire would still go on. Because there's a lot of leadership that's still there, and I guess I'm trying to stay off the expanded universe, but you have the Grand Moffs, you've got other hell, Imperial intelligence, you have all these other things, these mechanisms, this I don't know, this infrastructure that's already there, and a galactic spanning empire is not going to fall over just because a couple of guys died.
It may not have been quick. We're talking 30 years later. I could easily believe that the battle with the Empire lasted another 20 years, and then 5 years of peace with the Republic, or the new, whatever, and then things went wrong. And they went wrong gradually, and maybe Luke fell, or whatever. You see what I'm saying?
I really don't think Luke's going to be the bad guy. I think that rumor is just a rumor, because if they're going to give the send-off, for as much as I would love to believe that the, quote, one true goodness Jedi, whatever, fall, he's pretty squeaky clean. And his kids, not so much at all.
Marty, it's your kids.
Yeah, Marty, it's your kids. Gotta go back to the future. Anyway, no, I really don't think he's the bad guy. That and JJ wants to give him a send-off.
I find it difficult to believe we're just going to be seeing the same dynamic. That's 30 years later and nothing's changed, and the rebellion is still just fighting the Empire just like before, and they've just changed their names. To me, I don't buy that.
Maybe I could believe that, but a galactic-spanning empire, quote, it's not going to be taken out in 25, 30 years.
Well, except that it was an empire that rested by design entirely on the shoulders of one man, who had spent decades upon decades manipulating things and then spent decades more erasing all the other support structures, so that basically, as it was said, in New Hope, they get rid of the Senate and its fear that will keep the systems in line. And then if you destroy the Death Stars, and then you leave an empire without all of its leadership, because it's not just the Emperor and Vader who die, a bunch of other people die at Endor. The idea that maybe they fought for another 2 years, it's not that, it's more like, for a lot of planets, I could believe a lot of planets, it's more like just the name on the paper had changed. But in practice, not a lot changed. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and absolutely. And I mean, obviously this is just rampant speculation. And,
right.
And we're, ideally, of course, what I would like to see is the Empire on its last legs. And this movie is basically the removal of the Empire and the start of a new era. And, a part of me says, well, they wouldn't have, if the rebellion had won, took over, and then fell again, the rebellion would not be using the same imagery. Because when you look at the X-Wings with the guys in the helmets and the flight suits, they're almost identical. If the Empire had basically fallen and then was trying to come back or something, they would be wearing the Empire stuff. But no, we still have stormtroopers. All of these things, they speak of the old Empire that's trying to hold on desperately.
I don't know, Oda. I don't get the vibe from what we see of the stormtroopers or what we see of Kylo Ren and all of that. And again, to be fair, that's not much, but still, I don't get the vibe this is a organization or whatever, a government that's on the verge of falling apart, that's on its last legs, that's using worn out equipment, that's, as you said, dying. What I could see is more likely is, like, again, the rebellion took years, and in the process of defeating the Empire, they became, it's like, be wary when you fight monsters lest you become a monster yourself. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing we see now. How far do we go in the real world to fight terrorism? How far do we go before we become worse than the menace we're fighting? Because the First Order almost sounds vaguely like the Jedi Order or something. We see in the scene in the teaser where we see the stormtroopers all lined up with the Emperor figure behind them. It's a different symbol from the Empire. That's not the old Empire symbol. So what I could see a scenario is the rebellion took so long taking out the Empire, they were kind of left weak and exhausted, and this new force swept in, knocked them out, and the rebellion is returning to maybe old iconography in order to try and recall better days. You see what I'm saying? And that's what the resistance is. Or maybe it was more subtle. Maybe it's this First Order slowly, in the same way that Palpatine did, took over, and the resistance is spurred off of that and to try and show they're returning back to their rebel roots. Again, I don't know. It's interesting to speculate. All right, let's just move on, talk about a little bit of the other information we got. And keeping in mind that, obviously the creators are keeping things close to the vest. We know now the desert planet we've seen in both teasers is not Tatooine, as people were suggesting. And I always thought it wasn't going to be, just because that'd be too obvious, Tatooine's supposed to be this small, insignificant planet, and yet everything Star Wars seems to always eventually go back to Tatooine.
Yeah.
BioWare is especially guilty of this. I mean, it's like, guys, Tatooine's not supposed to be this special place you keep fucking going back to. Did you do what it appears this movie's doing, and is giving us a different desert planet? Why not? So we know the planet is called Jakku. We know that, at least starting out, by all accounts, it looks like John Boyega's character Finn is a stormtrooper. He's not just dressing up as one. And it seems likely that as the movie opens, he joined with good intentions, and he's now become disillusioned, and something specific, and I'm betting something involving Kylo Ren, maybe because it looks like at one point in the teaser, Kylo Ren's, slaughtering a bunch of people, and maybe that's what launches it all off. And we know that Daisy Ridley's Rey is apparently a scavenger on the planet of Jakku. Now, I could still see them pulling a fast one and having her turn out to be Han and Leia's daughter, and maybe she's there incognito with Han and Chewie looking for the Falcon or something. I don't know. That's just my off-the-hand theory, just because I want Han and Leia to be married and to have a daughter. I'm sorry, I really want that. That's something that means a lot to me personally. And then we have Oscar Isaac as Poe Dameron, who indeed has been sent on a mission by a princess. Obviously, Princess Leia. I could certainly see a scenario where Han, Chewie, and Rey are off getting into some adventures on the down low. Bad things start to really happen, and Leia's got to send out the call. Maybe they find Luke, or maybe they're looking for Luke, or whatever. Again, pure speculation. Most important thing we learn is BB-8 is real. He exists.
Well, JJ said that back in November that
JJ lies.
He keeps things a secret. He's real, and obviously now that people have seen for themselves that he is real, unless that whole panel was CGI and we're all into him, people are going to want a copy of him.
I expect BB-8 to be one of the big breakout characters of Episode 7. We got to see a bunch of the new designs for Stormtroopers. We got, again, the information about our three leads. Just any further thoughts on this?
At once, there is so much and yet so little to comment on. When I tuned in to the stream, they had already kind of began more waxing the nostalgia than, still dropping kind of hints of information. So I didn't so much, I guess, hear live the excitement, because, I've seen some of the reaction videos from the people who were there at the celebration when all these little points were announced, and people are just losing their absolute mind. It almost seems, and call this conspiracy theorist, but the imagery that they're using for some of these new characters, Kylo Ren and those kind of guys, seem to harken back to other aspects of the Star Wars canon. And I'm almost kind of wondering, conspiracy theorists arise here, that they might be trying to put other aspects of the expanded universe, extended universe, expanded universe, whatever, into the canon in a roundabout way that will get people like me and people like some of my buddies really geeking out about this stuff. But because of JJ's mystery box aspect of advertising, he's not going to tell us. So I'm more excited for what was not said than what was actually said. I mean,
come on, just come out and say it. You hope Kylo Ren is Revan.
To a point, yes, but also to a point, no. Revan is actually right now in SWTOR in Star Wars The Old Republic. He's actually a big thing right now. So, I mean, I don't know if they'll ever go that far.
For similar reasons why I don't think we're going to see the old Empire still around, not really. They're not going to want to just recreate the dynamic of the expanded universe. They got rid of it for a reason, and they got rid of it because they had a different idea. They were taking things in a different direction. That's my presumption. I mean, obviously they were going to have to clear away the expanded universe no matter what, to some degree. There was too much weight there, and so I mean, they were going to have to wipe away the expanded universe regardless. But I'm assuming we're going to get a take on the future of Star Wars that will, at best, only faintly resemble what we got in the expanded universe. And where there is overlap, it'll either be coincidence or more just because there's only so many ways to tell a story. And so I don't expect there to be a Jedi Order in this new film. And if there isn't, it's going to be interesting to see how they explain that away. I mean, for instance, maybe this First Order, maybe Luke did restart the Jedi Order, and it's what fell, and then his students turned on him, and they've taken over and all that. I mean, that's a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a possibility. And to a point, because I love seeing Jedi fall, I would actually like that.
You Dark Lord, you.
I know. But I would like it only to a point. I don't want there to be, this spanning Jedi Order that, let's say, is either Dark Jedi or full-on, Sith. I would much rather see just a few.
I think more than anything, my hopes are that I will be surprised. I hope they've got something crazy and wonderful up their sleeves that's going to leave us all gasping for breath. And it's going to be all, oh my God, I didn't see this coming. Or, oh my God, that is so exciting and awesome. I wish I'd thought of it. That is my ideal hope for it. That's what would make me very happy. In a way that honors what came before, certainly. I still want it to be recognizable as Star Wars. And certainly from what I've seen in the trailers so far, it still looks and feels like Star Wars to me. But, yeah, I want something new. I'm hoping for something different. I loved the expanded universe, but it had its day. Let's see something different. Let's try something new. Why not? What can it hurt?
Exactly. I'm totally on board with that. Give us nods, give us a tiny bit of nostalgia, but give us something new in the vein of the old. And
yeah.
And I think that's the formula. And I think these trailers are showing that that's the formula they're going for.
Yeah. I think basically coming out of the first day of Celebration, I'm feeling very optimistic and hopeful. It's like Han said, we're home.
Yeah, they're going to have to do something to screw it up in order for it to turn bad. Because now they've got so much good faith built up from the sale from Lucas. Because, let's be honest, for however justified it is, and I'm not taking a stance on either, however justified Lucas's involvement in the prequels and the downfall of Star Wars, big air quotes, is, his name was just so poison to Star Wars that I don't think anyone was going to trust anything he made Star Wars again.
I'm just hoping for a good time overall, and I suspect I will get that.
Mm-hmm.
Any final thoughts before we end this?
Quote-unquote, only a Sith deals in absolutes, and thus, Yoda, do it or not, there is no try. Thus, folks, you have your greatest Sith, Yoda.
Congratulations, Oda. You've just ruined Star Wars for everyone forever.
Aha!
And like in 3 sentences, Oda, wow, you truly are the Dark Lord. You truly are.
Thank you.
You monster.
Thank you.
Okay, I want to thank Oda for joining me on the show, and I want to thank all of you for watching. Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think about the new teaser trailer? What do you think about what's been coming out of Celebration? Are you looking forward to the film? Are you not won over? Whatever. Good or bad, let us know what you think. Stay tuned. This will not be the last time. I'm fairly willing to say that this will not be the last time Oda and I are talking about Star Wars around here. So, there's going to be plenty more Star Wars talk to come in the months ahead. The promotion in the lead up to Episode 7 has not yet truly begun, I think.
Yeah, we got a long way to go from here.
It feels like the franchise is revitalizing itself. It's finding, well, for lack of a better term, a new hope. It was the only way to describe it. It was. Come on. All right. For Channel Awesome and Unrepentant Geeking, I'm Shaun Cronenfeld, hoping that the Force will be with you always.